and onto the YouTube and cancel that Screaming into the Night one.
You don't need to. You don't need to. You can click on it and re-copy the key and then repaste. You can just create a new one. You know, I think people would just reload it.
As no views 3 seconds ago.
Yeah, that's because I can't start it. So I am actually live now. I actually have a new broadcast. I'm getting ready to start the Q&A. It's just so even though if you go back to my YouTube, I'm live.
I think they're live right now.
I am live right now, but you have to
Okay.
you have to go to a different YouTube screen. And then basically all the description that I wrote out, I took my time and wrote out all this description, and it was beautiful and wonderful. So yeah, OBS is a wonderful platform, but I'm having just minor difficulties. Minor difficulties. I will figure it out eventually. So I got to do a quick look on. Oh, Birdie's here too. We got Andy, Birdie, and MR13. I'm sorry, Void Kitten. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So you guys all know that Lynn's in Cali, right? Or I think it's California. He's down there enjoying the UFO convention. So I am wishing him the best of luck. He showed me what he's eating for dinner, and I had to laugh. So he had a big old bag of fruit. It was kind of funny. So, anyways, this is a quick question and answer on Screaming into the Night. I was really hoping to get somebody asking questions as we do the show. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to try to pull up the video here, and that way I can kind of watch the chat screen. So we'll see if I can even do that without screwing it up. Not updating the upper left. There it is. Okay. So, Bertie, you've been with us for ever since the beginning, and you are the one of the oldest members of Screaming into the Night, and I thank you very much. And Space Case, your wisdom at helping me with this stuff has been wonderful, and meeting your mom was even more wonderful. So I want you to let her know when you talk to her again that she's really cool. It's really nice meeting a remote viewer with skills like hers. So, my co-pilot, who is right here in the right corner, I don't know if you guys see that. I keep talking about my co-pilot. This is the guy that helps me with my live broadcast. So basically, he watches when I do these feeds, and he lets me know when I'm crashing or no audio or nothing else is happening or nothing else is working right. So it's all fun and games until you let me on a keyboard, and then everything goes to hell in a handbasket. So I'm trying to get him online after my initial cluster. So we'll see what happens. Okay. What do I need to do? So his YouTube is not working, but I'm sitting here looking at my working YouTube, so what do I need to do? Mine is working. So I don't know if you guys can pull up my YouTube channel and check to see if it's working. Let me know if your YouTube is working, showing the live feed. So if you guys get a chance, check on YouTube and let me know. But in the meantime,
Okay.
can you see it?
I'm checking. It was working before. Let me click on it again. Yep, it's working.
Cool. I can
With
hear you.
a slight delay. It's working.
I just do not see the upper left updating in the chat. It's like a fixed picture. Okay, why is that a fixed picture? Chat. It's a fixed picture because it is a fixed picture. There we go. Okay. We are live. We are good. I think we're golden. Alright, I have 6 messages in Discord. I don't know what these 6 messages in Discord are. I'm going to check real quick. I think they're birdie. Ah, I can answer text via. Excellent. Alright, so guys, we are ready. We're going to get this thing rocking and rolling. Alright, so when I first started this, this is one of the people that got me started. So when I initially got my knees worked on, my very first knee, I think 3 years ago, I got my knee replaced. So Daz Smith and the Signal Line, Paul Smith, and Remote Viewing Instructional Service, and Lynn Buchannon. These are the 3. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Lori Williams. Lori Williams and Lynn Buchannon all have very wonderful, actual, good, free resources that allows you to, practice doing this. So I was completely drugged up. I had, massive amounts of pain, and I was enjoying watching TV and cruising the internet. So when you're cruising the internet while you're massively drugged while watching TV, you naturally stumble upon things like this. So here we have Lynn Buchanon's Target of the Week page. Now I went through all the way up to I'm pretty sure I went through 2015. It might be 2013. I know I stopped at some point, and then I was using some of these for my contest, but I can't remember where I stopped at. Anyways, wonderful targets. You pick a target, and then it'll give you feedback if you want it. And then when you're done, you can click here for the feedback. So your target is coordinates 150114, and your feedback here is the Singing Tower. Now that is a cool target. So Lynn Buchanan, his website had a lot of really good, absolutely wonderful targets, and there's a bunch of them too. But Paul Smith also had very focused and very good targets. We've actually looked at remote viewers looking at Paul Smith's targets. I know that sounds crazy, but I can't remember which contest that was, but one of the contests that Lynn had for us for Screaming into the Night, the target was the remote viewer who was remote viewing a Paul Smith target. It was really cool. So, and Daz Smith also has something called 8 Martinis. So if you guys are ever interested in some really good reading material, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if you can see this. Yeah, 8 Martinis. So if I can do this, you guys can do this. The 8 Martini magazine is a very nice way to look at all the different things. I think he has a lot of stuff from Irva and all the other different sources of remote viewing. So back when I was drugged and learning how to do this, I came up with this great idea to learn how to remote view. I thought it was really cool. And with beginner's luck, because I was doing so well, I figured, you know what, I'm going to make it into a company. So I took more drugs, and I actually started Screaming Into the Night Limited Liability Company. I'm actually a small business that does remote viewing in Washington State. So not only am I a YouTube, icon, I'm also a certified, paid the taxes in Washington State business. So plus I have a Discord. You just can't beat it. So I started the business back in, I'm pretty sure it was 2023, and I came up with an idea to have an app for remote viewing. I also came up with an idea to have data collection so that businesses can actually set targets and collect data from people who want to practice. Using ARV, where you have two choices. So this is the right choice, this is the wrong choice. You have two pictures to choose from. And you can use the ARV to forecast money tracks. Is it going to be higher than or lower than? All you have to do is pick the picture which corresponds to the higher mark for the following day. It would have been great, and it's still a very viable idea. In fact, I think a lot of the apps that do the remote viewing testing use the data from this to do exactly that. Using ARV, they can forecast market predictions using ordinary people's targeting ability. So if you've got 1,000 people trying to pick out which is the correct target, which is the correct picture, is it A or B, and 60% of the people pick A, the following day will come around and either A or B will be correct. So you'll have 60% of the people correctly picking the following day's correct picture. I mean, it's simple. And to me, instead of doing it clandestine and behind everybody's back, so yeah, we're going to take your data and we're going to use it for our own, to me, it'd be like, why don't I pay you guys for, learning how to remote view? Learn how to remote view. I'll pay you. That's going to be, pennies. But my initial idea for the app was to literally pay to play. And I was going to use a Stellar network because it's the cheapest. So if I had 10,000 people who all decided they want to learn how to remote view and they would like to get paid a token, my token, Screaming Into the Night, if they'd like to make one token to do this remote view, which I'm going to pay you for, then I would pay all 10,000 people with one token, and I would get all this information, which I would then sell to whatever business is looking for, a market value. So say they wanna know if Bitcoin's going to rise or fall the next day. Instead of telling everybody, this ARV is for the Bitcoin rising and falling, I would say, hey, this is a paid target. I'm going to pay you one Screaming Into the Night token, and all you have to do is pick the correct picture. Is it A or is it B? Do the initial view, take a look at the pictures, and tell me what you think. And then I'll tell you in, 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, whatever the money guys, the business people, whatever frame of time that they're looking for. So in that many days, we'll know the answer, and then the answer that everybody picked will be evaluated, and that everybody would get the token, and everybody would say, hey, that's great. This is the right answer, and this is the picture that I picked. So basically, it's be looking into the future target. And I have proven time after time that we can look into the future. We can look into the future accurately. And time does really weird things. So ARVing future projects is incredibly easy. Building a business to take advantage of the fact that we can look at future projects is an incredible pain in the ass. So when I first started, when my knees were all messed up and I'm not working, I hooked up with a couple app developers. And my goal was to do an Adalo app, so I had a basic idea of what I wanted for my app. And then I tried to get that going, and I failed miserably. And then I actually found some Indian developers. I think it was going to be like $400, and they could make an Adalo app that would basically work. So $400, and they can make an Adalo app that would do the basic things. And since I wasn't working at the time, $400 was way too much money. That was a great idea, but it wasn't going to work. So now that I'm working and I've got a little bit of money saved up, I still think it's a lot of money. But I know developers' times is very expensive, so I'm not gonna worry about that too much. When the time comes and I'm ready to do this, I'm gonna have a developer do the app in the way that I want it to go. It doesn't have to be a functioning app. It has to have all the bells and whistles that I see this app doing. One, have a built-in wallet. Two, have each person have their own avatar, just very similar to Reddit, so that you can upgrade your avatar to whatever fancy thing you do, and then have the avatar grow as you complete, whatever levels. And the longer you remote view, and the more times you remote view. I mean, every time you learn a course project or you do, I don't know, a view or even 10 views, you're basically advancing yourself, and you're leveling up. So why not show that progress on your avatar? And the other thing is it'd be kind of fun to have group chat, kind of like I don't know about like Reddit, because Reddit is really damn hostile. Thinking more along the lines of like Discord, so you can have groups of friends that you can have chat with while you're learning how to do remote viewing. So you can ask questions and not get too browbeaten. I mean, I get ripped apart on Reddit, and I get ripped apart on Discord too, but at least they do it. Now they still rip me apart. That's okay though. So having the app do that would have been a good idea. The other thing is like Duolingo. Duolingo has a teaching course for learning languages, and I was looking at learning Mandarin. So I learned how to say a bunch of different Mandarin characters. I think it was 1 through I can't even remember. Each decimal, let's just say I had to put it to the side because holy crap, Mandarin is unbelievable. And my drawing skills, I don't know if you guys have noticed, my drawing skills absolutely suck. Still not updating. Let me check it real quick. Sorry about that, man. I got tied up in talking. There we go. Okay, I gotta check my... Oh, I got a question screaming into the night. Where is the link? Oh, that was... Okay. Hold on, let me send you the link to the new one. Hey,
A link to the video that...
is that the new one right there? The... What is it?
That, yeah,
Okay.
pretty sure.
scientist.
All right.
It's
Thank you.
working when I look at it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, man. Uh, okay. Where was I? What was I talking about? I forgot.
You were talking about someone ripping you,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, who's ripping that?
Yeah, it
And
was,
also, you were talking your drawing skills.
yeah, my drawing skills. My drawing skills suck. So I don't know if
Uh,
anybody's noticed, but I don't take the
oh
time to
God.
draw nice. So it,
But you get the point.
what's that?
You get the point across, though. It's very expressive.
Right, right. And that's who wants to sit here and watch me doodle a pretty picture? Well, I don't. I get, I'm what do they call that when you want to click 10 seconds forward every second just so you can get through this. So I get as much information down in minimum amount of time possible, and my drawings suffer terribly because of that. But I do get the basic expression and basic idea. Um, Still not updating. Holy crap! So my co-pilot was wondering about the accuracy regarding. And he said he likes my drawings. Oh my God, he has no taste. It does not have to be realistic. Convey the information. Yeah, that's true. It really doesn't have to
My
be.
drawings are worse than yours.
Huh?
My drawings are worse than yours.
Oh,
Unless they're technical and I go get a ruler
oh my.
and other drafting implements, then I'm fine.
Exactly. I mean, I wanted to be an architect, and that shows you how far I've slidden since those days. Because man, you give me a pencil and a ruler, I was awesome. You give me a colored crayon, and I'm yeah. So, anyways, the accuracy regarding ARV. So, and I found something out about ARV, which I don't know if I've told you guys. You're gonna love this shit. See, excuse me. You're gonna love this stuff. Accuracy, accuracy regarding ARV. All right. So I've done multiple projects with multiple people now with ARV. So let's just say 4 projects. First week, 75%. And I'm not trying hard. I'm getting 75%. Second week, 55% to 60%. Okay? Third week, 30 to 50. 30
Okay,
to
so why does the accuracy go down? Like, I would think you would get better.
30 to 50%. Does that not tell you something? 30% is below 50%. That means I'm getting worse than the actual 50-50 split that you would get by flipping a coin. I could flip a coin and get better results than my ARV. My ARV, when I'm fresh out of the gate, I'm hot. When I did the side test for that contest, the side test contest, I was smoking. I mean, the first 10 nailed them. The second 10 ARV questions, I nailed them. The wrong ones. I nailed the wrong picture time, and I don't mean nailed. I mean I drew the target. I described the picture. It was like uh, so the first 10 I got nothing after that. Okay, so my point, right? This first week when I'm smoking hot on my ARV, there's no interference. The second week, there's a ton of interference. And the third week, I am actively being stopped. I am actively being targeted. So I am actively being denied the target. And I didn't know, I had no clue that ARV, I didn't know you could block ARV. Let me make sure that thing's loading. There we go. Anyways,
the same two pictures all the time, or are they random?
what's that? What was
Are
that?
they the same two pictures to see high or low, or are they random pictures?
Random pictures. So here we have a skyscraper, and here we have a puppy. A puppy with large balls of fur and a tail. Big ears. Okay. So these are two pictures. Which one's right? Right? So somebody out there would pick this one to be right. So this is correct. This is incorrect. My job would have been to find out which one of these is correct and which one's incorrect. And of course, it's just two random pictures that somebody designated correct or incorrect. But what I was told, and this is confirmed by several of the higher remote viewer people, and I mean like the people that have been doing this for years and years and years, is that you can literally target people and screw them up. I was yelled at we were doing a taping. I was working with some people and we were doing a taping, and they told me that there are people that actively go out and try to screw other people's remote viewing over in the past. So they watch something in the future, take offense to it, and then they go back into the past and literally try to change the target. They literally, in the future, try to change the remote viewer's data, tasking, targeting, whatever you want to call it, so that instead of this being correct, this is now incorrect. From the future. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what this kind of attack is called. I had no clue it was there. I didn't know. I thought it was cool as hell. You're right. So I don't know if you guys can see this.
I don't have high enough bandwidth to see anything at the moment,
Where
but I've had a similar thing happen.
you were
I've had similar things happen where people from the future were coming back to tell me the technology I was working on needed to be released a different way, and they ended up breaking the whole thing with their focus and what they were doing.
right.
So I've experienced that. It's really obnoxious.
Yeah, and that's my whole point, is the fact that I had no clue it was there. So the whole thing with the ARV is, now that I know it can happen, and like I said, 30% wrong or 30% correct, that's not right. So I know I was actively attacked. I was actively stopped picking the right target, because in order to get 30% wrong or 30% correct, I literally have to choose the incorrect one every other time, which defies the laws of odds. I mean, you just the nice thing is so now we know that ARV works. So that alone is worth that's worth everything. We know ARV works. We also know that we have to take, when we do this for a business, like say we want to do this for personal stock choices, gambling. Oh my God, sports gambling. Oh, talk about money. If I want to grab a bunch of people and make a lot of money really fast, then we talk to gamblers. And we figure out an ARV method to use for sports gambling. And we go offer our services in Vegas. Be really easy. We don't have to have a lot of info. I mean, even the color and the color of the jersey, and maybe something in the locker room of the winning team is all we need. Let's say it's two fighters. What color are their trunks? How hard would that be? We could make money hand over fist with ARV as long as we can counter whatever this effect is from whoever it is. But the nice thing is, now that we know it happens, we can actually figure out a way to counter this effect. So I just thought that was really interesting, the fact that that it can even be done.
Can you add into your blind viewing targets
Yeah,
whoever's doing that to you as a blind target?
yeah, and that's the thing. It can be any target. It doesn't have to be for ARV. It can be any target. They can literally, if like it's, let's say it's a military base. I like going on military bases. I have been chased out of many military bases, and let's say they don't want us to go onto a military base, and they don't want us to meet their inhabitants, and they don't want us to play with their hardware. Okay, well, they're going to go through and they're going to make sure that my past views have a wrong targeting number, or maybe they want to redirect me by showing me something shiny over here. Oh, look, here's a shiny thing. Go look at that instead. Unfortunately, I'm not real smart, and so I go and look in the military bases anyway. So I've been on a lot of military bases, and I've seen a lot of really cool things. Some of them have they've really affected me because of what I've seen. My co-pilot is asking, does our consciousness get bored sometimes depending on the target? Yes. Some targets are very boring. And that's where the shiny aspect is. So you could be looking at a target, and this target sucks, and it's a terrible target. And right next door is a shiny target. And so you're looking at the shiny target, and you're going, oh my God, it's so shiny and pretty. And then you're kind of screwed because you're looking at the wrong target. Imagine if we did a target trying to determine why the accuracy dropped. Well, that's my goal, is to actually set up a pool of data to actually see who and why this happens. That will actually be a task for some of the better remote viewers who are okay with a little, because you're dealing with a group that attacks people. So the only people I want viewing this as a task would be people who can handle the attention. The attention is going to be, let me tell you, it's once you're in their sights, it's a pain in the ass. But I mean, if you can deal with it, that's awesome. But the only people that will be using these targets or looking at these targets will be people who can deal with it. Is this more likely with ARV or all targets, this attack thing? Yes, so it's any target. Okay, what is this? Someone pranks you by giving you dissolved bathing suit. Create. What the hell am I doing? There we go. Okay, lost my train of thought. Where am I? Let's see. Talked about the app, giving people money, making lots of money, gambling. Oh my God, gambling. God, I don't know if you guys understand how much money goes into gambling and how much information that people pay for. People pay for some of the stupidest things, and gamblers will pay big bucks for little details. And I kid you not, if we had a way of doing that, setting it up so I could have somebody set the target with the gambler, so I know that Tasker, who is the gambler, is working with a moderator to make a firm target, the locker room of the winning team, the color of the boxer shorts, whatever it is. If we had somebody that could do that, and then have a group of us just do nothing but, here's the target number, good luck. And then whatever and then base everything on winning. So if you're going to win, I don't know, $10,000 for winning, then all we ask for is like 1%. 1% of $10,000 is $100, right? So $100. That $100 would be split between the viewers. So if we're all doing, I don't know, 20-minute views, and you're splitting it between 10 viewers, and that'd be $10. It's not very much, but you know, it's practice money. And the bigger the bet, you know, or maybe work off tips. Maybe have the system set up so each viewer has a rating scale and has a track record. So one of the people on my Discord actually has something called SciScope. SciScope is a tracking thing. Space, you can explain it better. What exactly is SciScope? How does it? It's Bitcoin, and it's using it. It's using the permanence of the Bitcoin to track the data for as long as it needs to be tracked. So basically, it's a permanent record using the Bitcoin realm. It's really cool. I don't know how to explain it, but this is something for smart people.
Explained it good.
It's
basically, they're using the cryptocurrency part of the calculations in there to store the data, and then anybody can go back and look at the data later. And because of the encryption of the cryptocurrency, there's really no way to go back and fake that. So it's a pretty good timestamp, and it allows access to the data.
So basically, it's a wonderful way to store the data on a crypto-like platform. And not only that, but we can actually use that, and the person can rack up, you know, this is what I did, this is what the accuracy was, yada yada yada. So don't forget to bring up deviations from the target, like viewing something related to, but not technically on target. If the future is not fixed, how does viewing sports win works? Oh, permanency of the future. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. If the future is not fixed, how does viewing sports wins work out if it could go different ways?
I've seen a protocol for this, actually.
I know I have too, and I'm trying to remember how it goes.
The one I remember, I think, was something like you leave yourself in the future in the timeline you're on, then you go look at that one. So whichever way it happens to be, that's what you see, or something to that effect. It was messy.
Right, because there's alternate timelines. And that could open up a whole can of whoop ass. But it is doable. I like to stay within X number of days from the current. But major events like the rock that's going to hit the planet, that's a fixed. That's going to happen. The earthquake that's going to hit California, that's a fixed. How we as a society deal with that, because we can see the future, how we deal with this will depend on our ability to pull our head out of our own collective posteriors. So if we can use our skills to accurately predict and quantify this particular technique, we survive. If we don't, well, you know. But if we actually figure out if we use our remote viewing skills to change the future, I mean, now, like I said, it opens up a whole can of whoop ass. And I'm not sure. I think Lynn Buchannon had a story where a remote viewer sees some guy going in and robbing somebody in the future. He tells the police, he says this guy's going to break in and he's going to go in and he's going to rob this store, or he's going to kill somebody or something terrible and traumatic. So basically, he tells the cops this. The cops believe him for whatever reason. They go and they stake out this place, and sure enough, here comes Mr. Robber, and he's breaking in, and so they catch him in the act. Now, the remote viewer saw what happened, but what happened didn't happen. So the remote viewer changed the future. What's that going to do to a sport? I don't know.
I think I know the answer.
Is there an answer?
Timelines have been my hobby for a long time. I don't know, 20 years or more I've been playing with timelines. And what I'm pretty sure is every time someone makes a decision, like them to go stake out that site or not, you alter the timeline. And I think it's, most people don't try to change the past, but from my tests, you can. So every choice you make at every point affects the past and the future. And I'm pretty sure time doesn't flow beginning to end. It flows from the least probable timeline to the most probable timeline. So how you take advantage of that is you simply make your timeline that you want to happen more likely to happen, and then that's what ends up occurring.
Right, that would be the whole key behind quantum jumping, the whole key to self-help, is you're literally trying to make whatever you want the most probable to happen. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. You're trying to make it the most probable event, and that's the way time's going to go, is to that probable event, rather than the least probable, which is I'm going to win $1 million today out of the blue. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen, but it'd be nice. Unless I actively go out and buy a lottery ticket, learn how to remote view the lottery numbers, that would be the most probable way, which lottery is also another one.
The way I teach this to people is with a road, because a road is usually a timeline because you're driving down it. And the example would be somebody's driving down the road, they feel like they're going to get a speeding ticket. Usually, they see the police officer, get the speeding ticket, and they drive away annoyed because they felt it coming. What they're trying to do is slow down, avoid the speeding ticket, have nothing happen, and go along their day.
Right.
Well, that can't really happen. So what you have to do is you feel a speeding ticket coming, you slow down, you spot the police officer and go, aha, that's what it was, and then you send yourself the message to get it in the first place.
Right.
That way what happens is you get the message, you send it back, it's all very consistent.
Right, exactly. You're literally sending a message to yourself, and several people that I'm working with currently can say the same thing, is that you can literally send messages back to yourself, and it's a done deal. I'm not that good of a remote viewer, and I don't have the skills to say, I want you to do this at this time. So naturally, I'm stuck with, I will grab that hot pan and it will hurt like a son of a bitch, and I will not learn anything from it. Whereas if I was smart, I would say, in the future, do not grab the hot pan, do not touch it, do not put your tongue on it, don't do it. So, but I don't do that.
The trick is, it'll show up as a memory of the future when you get it. So literally you're about to grab the pan, it shows up as a memory of, this is going to hurt. I remember the future in 3 seconds. And then 3 seconds, then you send yourself the memory. Don't touch that pan. So you have to practice at this some. It takes a bit of practice to get this working. So every time you do grab the hot pan, stop and send yourself the message. That way you're used to receiving them. All mine for years were negative things to avoid. The first time I got a positive one of, there are no police on this really, really long drive home after you watch Final Destination. Go as fast as you want. But I got freaked out because of that movie, and I didn't interpret it right until I got home and realized the message that I sent and went, okay, fine. And then I sent the message and tried to forget the whole thing.
You try to forget the whole thing. Yeah, yeah. So it's possible to change. Yes, it's possible to change the future. Yes, we are. Oh crap! Now I've just gone and touched something, and now it's screwed up. Hold on, folks.
Didn't mean to derail you. I'm sorry.
Oh, technical difficulties. I just lost my. There it is. Got it. I got it. Oh my god. Okay. Is a timeline even altered? If both roads exist, if both exist, people just choose different roads to go down, where both actually exist, but one is visible to an individual person experiencing it. So I don't know. I'm not hip on timelines. You know, the funny thing is I went to a place and I met a person, and the person described time to me. The person that described time to me wasn't a person. He described time to me by showing me. He showed me what time looks like. Time looks like a frickin' ball of yarn. The reason we can do this future past remote viewing is because this ball of yarn, every point in this ball of yarn touches every other point in this ball of yarn. So where in a 3D world you take a skein and you wrap up this yarn, the layer of yarn only touches the other layer of yarn. In the dimension that I saw, the dimension of time that I saw, this timeline wrapped around the other timeline and wrapped around the previous timeline and wrapped around the future timeline, and all these timelines touched. So we can literally step from point A to point B and see point A and point B in the timeline at any point in any time. This is what he showed me. This is what time looks like in whatever dimension that he was showing me from. The person that showed me was a very unusual person. I would highly recommend you go there and see for yourself. If you ever get a chance to remote view it, it was very entertaining. I had no clue what half the stuff was he was talking about. So, let's see. He's got timeline even alter. Maybe there will be 2 Super Bowl winners in 2026, but which one we witness depends on the path we individually take. But see, now you're looking at 2 timelines. So, but which is very possible. I mean, who says there's only one timeline? You know, how many of us are out there? Is there like millions and millions of different dimensions? And that's the other thing, dimensional. I haven't even started on the dimensional thing. So, Void Kitten, Birdie, when I'm in a drugged up state and I'm totally helpless and suggestible, and I met Void Kitten, she goes, I'm a keeper. And I said, what's a keeper? And I found out what a keeper was. So I remote viewed Birdie's house, and I was very surprised to see what Birdie was talking about. Dimensional entities and spirits and fae and I don't even know what you would call Bruce as far as a dimensional. I mean, I'm not even sure what the classification is. If you get a chance, Birdie, give me a name for what that is. Anyways, she introduced me to a lot of really cool things as far as remote viewing. Because I was in a advanced state of bliss, I was able to walk through all this stuff. Another friend of mine, which I'm currently talking to on Discord, is currently being She has a UFO that keeps floating around her house, and she's sending me pictures. So between Birdie and my other friend showing me all the different aspects of all the cool things that's out there and all the secret places. In fact, Birdie showed me I forget what it's called, a playground. She made a playground, I guess. And I know it sounds weird, but I found out that a lot of people make dimensional places that have different aspects in them, and I had no clue. I'm I didn't know that you could go to a dimensional place with your higher self and do this. And then the latest thing is I can't remember what the video was called, but they found out that autistic children go to the hill. Well, again, one of my friends introduced me to the hill. The hill is where the tree of life stands. The tree of life is just this big ass tree that has the representation of everybody's life on it. I'm remote viewing all this stuff. I have no clue what it is. My remote viewing skills are not looking at pictures. My remote viewing skills are looking at everything. It turns out that the hill is an actual physical place in the metaphysical realm. And it's a big ass tree. And it is alive. And not only is it a representation of everybody here on Earth, it's also a living organism. And it has inhabitants. And the inhabitants prune the tree. If you understand what I'm talking about by pruning the tree, I mean they literally go through and eat the different paths, and they destroy what needs to be destroyed, and they kill what needs to be killed, and there's bugs and vermin and stuff that live in this tree, and all these things, which are other dimensionals, affect us. And I had no clue. So, like when a branch dies, and this branch is the family of a particular person, so if this particular person's family dies, this branch withers and dies, there's a pruner that's going to go in, and just like a termite, it's going to eat that branch off, and that branch is going to fall down and decay into the ground. Well, there's bugs down in the ground that will eat the remainder of that branch. And all this is going on in that tree. It's just like a frickin' living tree, except we are part of it. I don't even know how to describe it. Anyways.
You described it pretty well.
Well, the best part is, so if you want to make $1 million, that's your goal in life. You find your branch on the tree. You go to the tree, and you graft this idea onto the tree. I want $1 million. I want to make this happen. This graft, this idea, is put in your path. It's put in your branch. Now, it's up to you to make sure that it is protected. It is watered. It is taken care of. That branch will shoot up. Now, the chance of that thing dying is phenomenal. But if you continue to take care of it, your branch, for $1 million, whether it be through actions or whatever, meditation, maybe meditation works, I don't know. But if you get that branch past a certain point, it will take off on its own. But you got to get it past the point to where it's taking off. And you got to work it. I mean, you've got to prune this branch in order to grow the way you want it to grow. That's the whole thing about life, is you have to take actions to get what you want. I want $1 million, life. Let's make it happen. Tree of Life. Oh my God, it's so cool. Birdie, I'm sorry, Void Kitten. Oh my God, it's so cool. What else? Okay, where are we? Building stuff in the building stuff in the astral realm. Yeah, you can cut down that branch, make it into lumber, and you've got one of the richest houses in the world. You know, the other thing I found out about the tree, I don't know if I told you this, Space, but so let's say you go to your branch where you're making $1 million branch come up, right? You're sitting there making your $1 million branch come up, and you're feeding it and taking care of it and peeing on it occasionally to give it some good fertilizer, and you're getting your branch to take off. Now, when you look out of that tree, a mental picture here, man, I'm telling you, take a look out of that tree. You're on a branch way the hell up in the sky, on top of a hill. Look out of that tree and tell me what you see. I mean, what would
See
you...
a lot more tree around me.
Damn straight. Each one of those trees is a life. This is just like the one you're sitting in. The trees around you are... Did I tell you that story about what I saw when I was up in the tree? I can't remember if I
I
told
don't
you.
remember that.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was is I'm sitting up in the tree of life, and I'm looking at all the gods, small g's, off in the distance. The big ass worm-eating god, or the world-eating god, and I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at all the different gods just kind of off in the distance, and then I realized that there's a tree over there, and there's another tree, and there's another tree, and then I look past those trees, and holy crap, it just keeps going. This universe that we're sitting in, that we're so proud that we're the only ones here, is filled with trees of life, and every flavor and every color and every aspect that you guys have never seen and never will see, because the colors don't even register on our eyes. I mean, I can't even call it blue because it's not blue. I mean, it's like this ultraviolet shade of I'm going to burn my eyes out because I'm looking at this tree that's just radiant glowing. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got this red that's so deep, dark red that your skin peels off because it's so incredibly, energetic and low bandwidth. But each tree of life for each group is so different. And again, it was shown to me by one of the people on my discords. He said, "Here, I need you to go here, take a look." And it's like, oh my God, he opened up such a can of worms. Mm.
I got shown something very similar, but with a completely different visual description that matches identically odd enough.
Oh, hit me. I gotta know.
It was a walk-in. It was like a library, and it was almost like DVD movies sitting on the shelf. You'd pick which one you wanted to go to, and you went through this doorway, and you'd walk in, and you would be in that reality completely. You could do whatever you wanted within the limits of that place, and these could obviously just be lost or turned off or whatever it is.
Okay, wait, back up. So these were doors that you're walking through?
It was a single door.
Okay.
But it was, you pick where that door led. So in the library, and what they were telling everyone was you might want the introductory one first, and most people picked that. And the moment you interact with it too much, you're there, and you can't leave anymore. Or you have to gain enough power to get out some other way. But it was, everything was changeable within it. It was, the storyline is a lot like your branches of you can go here, you can whatever, this can disappear. The where you're at could literally just dissolve away and you wouldn't be there anymore. But it was all just a series of things. Somebody could make a new one of these things. They could pop up. They could disappear. There could just be nobody there.
So on that note, I met with a bunch of tall whites. And I've never met with tall whites before. I never trusted them. My feelings about tall whites is they're not trustworthy. This is my initial opinion of them because of what I've gone through with several different remote views that I've been on. My problem is I'm looking at it one dimensionally. It's not that I can't trust them, it's just that I don't understand what they're doing or why they're doing it. Now, what they showed me was I have skills. I don't understand them, but I have skills. And if I want help or I need to easier, easier, easily see better, is to allow myself to walk through a door. And the door, you mentally picture a door in your head, and you open the door and you walk through, and on the other side will be what you want to see, exactly like what you're saying. And so for many months now, if I want to see something, I will literally make a door in my brain, and I will reach out and I will literally open up in my brain and I will walk through, and then on the other side I'll talk to whoever I need to talk to get whatever information I need to get. Or the information will be there, or the feel and the whatever I need is on the other side. And it doesn't always work. Um, I don't know if it's ADD kicks in and I kind of blank it out, but I mean, the concept of having a door that you walk through is amazing. And to have a bunch of tall whites tell me the same thing that you were told, well, something similar that you were told is just amazing too. So for me, it's a concept that works great.
To link back your tree of life, which I love that description, is I was told a long time ago, how many years this was, about 10 years ago, that the path in life I was on simply didn't exist in the future. Like, it wasn't a thing.
It wasn't a thing.
And I was always, what?
It's just kind of, it wasn't a thing. So the path you're on wasn't a thing. So that's so many ways that you could take that.
It was vanishing.
Yeah.
That path is a dead end. It was disappearing, just like your whole thing of this branch is about to get pruned off.
Right.
And at the time, I was trying to connect with whoever, whatever I could. The sun seems like a pretty neutral whoever it is. So I went and asked, and the answer they gave me back was nonlinear time. And I thought about that for a while, a couple of days, and I'm like, maybe it means I need to just change my timeline. So I worked at that, and I shifted my timeline, and that whole thing went away. I think, like a lot of people say, how many versions of yourself or reality are out there? Are there infinite? Well, I've tried viewing them all, and I really think your tree of life thing is right, that there are those branches that go a direction, and they'll get trimmed off. I don't think there's that many out there. I think you can venture a little ways out, but I can't see those as active timelines. Like, some of them are there, but they don't lead anywhere. They're just a dead end.
What do you mean they
At
don't?
least
They
that's
don't.
how I feel when I go explore.
What do you mean they don't lead anywhere or dead end?
I mean, like, let's say I go to my local casino, and I go gamble and get a bunch of money, and I give up on my path in life.
Right.
That branch, I probably have the skills to make that happen. But that branch doesn't exist in the future. Like, it's a dead end. It's something that maybe I thought of now, and I created it a little bit, but there's not enough energy behind it to maintain it. It's going to vanish, so that timeline's just never going to happen. And if I made it there, I'm pretty sure something would come along and get rid of it, one way or the other.
Yeah.
They would either take away the money, they would cripple me so I can't use it, they would get me back on track of what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And they would fix it somehow. And I say that because I've tried other types. I haven't tried with money because I don't care about money, but I have tried with other things, and I have been even more and more ridiculous things will happen to put me back where I'm supposed to be.
Right. Well, and that begs the question: where are you supposed to be? What is it? What is the end goal that you're supposed to be doing that in this life. I mean, aside from being a protector, which we've got that, we know that you're supposed to be a protector of something, or have something that you're supposed to take care of.
When I go look at this, I mean, I can see a lot of people and what they're supposed to be doing. It fits in like a puzzle, is how I've seen it when I went exploring. And it's great if you can get someone to show you the like how people show up to this world. And it's sort of like you show up in a room, and I've seen a few different visualizations, a few other people, but basically you're given like a life right in front of you, that if you do nothing, that's where you'll end up. But it's sort of like a view screen. You'll see maybe 3 or 5 lives in front of you, and if you pick one, great. If you peer into it, you can see the whole life and everything that'll happen. But there's some sort of control mechanism where you can scroll through about 150 of them that you can experience. But let's say you go in, view the whole life, and start making changes. I don't know if I was supposed to do that, but I did. And then I got someone telling me, no, you can't do that. And they showed me why that would break that life of what it was for. And they said, if you want that sort of thing in life, go pick another one. It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle they're working to make this place get whatever people are showing up here for.
Right.
And it was a really interesting series of things that were shown to me as how people fit into this reality.
Right.
Because I've been trying to figure out physics, and that's nothing to do with where the people fit in. And some of the physics literally leads back to how do you change all this? And you can change it with the physics. You can go alter stuff you're not supposed to be.
Right.
So what I always do when I'm looking at what should I be doing, what am I going to be blocked at, what am I not, it's like how people, when they pray, usually they'll feel the energy going up. If you read enough near-death experiences, those people up there see our prayers and our wishes coming from below them. However, wherever the geometry is above and below. So what I do is when I'm thinking about doing something, like winning the lottery or whatever, I check to see if energy flows from above to that task.
Right.
If it does, I'll use my personal energy, because that I can do anything with. And if it doesn't flow that direction, then I know that they're going to fight me on it.
Right.
So that's why I check. And there are certainly things I've tried to alter, futures I've tried to change that I'm told basically just don't do it.
Yeah.
We're going to fight you on it. And maybe that's why I was awfully curious what or who is blocking you seeing in your ARV stuff by giving you the wrong answers.
Well, and that's at this point, it didn't matter to me because I'm going to fight them tooth and nail. And the nice thing is I like a challenge. So it's kind of like a red flag in front of a bull is the bull's going to charge after it. So they basically put a great big red flag in front of me, and I'm going to charge this sucker, and I'm going to use everything I can to make sure that red flag is taken down. Now, whether I'm actually successful at it or it actually works the way it's supposed to, I don't know. But now that I know it's there, it irritates me to no end, and I'm going to put both feet down, and I'm going to actually really aggressively charge after it. So it is.
Tell me if you need any help. That sounds fun.
I wanted to show you this. Let me pull it up real quick. So Birdie had some answers. She said she renovated her astral space, and her astral space is, oh my God, so cool. Spirit Sanctuary. And the tree on the hill is from the telepathy tapes. So the telepathy tapes came out, I think, last year, and they were really cool. It's like pruning the dead or non-essential parts so the tree can focus on the essential parts. Literal tree of life. And the oracle. Okay, I don't know what that is. I'll have to ask her. And then gotta love Birdie, man. I tell you what, she is good people. Anyways, Tree of Life and the telepathy tapes. You gotta check them out. So, oh, why do I got two screens here? Birdie had some answers. Yeah. Okay. There it is. Yeah, my OSB is something's smoking in here because my bandwidth is low, my screen is acting wonky, and this is my poor computer. I'm really putting in it overtime. Okay, what else we got? We got my co-pilot. Oh, my co-pilot was wondering if we can do a quick remote view. Oh, that was the other thing. So, if anybody watches this in the future, and anybody's interested in doing a group remote view, it's basically where I have a target, and I give you a target number, and as a group, and we can have as many people as you want, if you want to take friends with you, as a group, we can all remote view the target together. And then I will basically walk you to the target. I will hold your hand and we will walk over the target. So if you don't mind looking at, cool targets, then I will literally take you places that are really, really cool. And as a group too. So you and your friends will literally in your mind and on paper draw and write down what you feel is at that point. And the best part about a group remote view is, one, it's what you feel. It doesn't matter if the person sitting next to you is drawing something completely different, because maybe he's in a different part. My whole thing about group remote viewing, it's like 4 blind men and an elephant in a box. Okay? When the elephant gets done moving around in that box, there's a lot of squishy stuff and one elephant left. So that's my take on group remote viewing. Let's not get in a box with an elephant. That's key here, folks. But as a group, each of us is going to describe the target differently. Each of us is going to see the target differently. And each of us is going to go to the target and look at it differently. One of my biggest things is when I was first remote viewing, I kept drawing pictures from space. So the target was a ski lift. The picture showed it dead on. My pictures, I'm drawing this rectangle and I'm drawing these lines coming off it and I'm drawing this barren hill and I have all these details and I'm looking at the ski lift. It's like, that doesn't look anything like my picture, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, I Google mapped it, and what I noticed was on Google Map, the ski lift from space looks exactly like my picture. I was literally looking at the damn ski lift from an altitude of X number of feet, and sure enough, everything matched. It was just 180. I think I was looking south, was in the north position, and you know what I mean. It was reversed. So group remote viewing is a viable thing, and I've taken many people on many tours. So if anybody has a group of people that wants to go on a walkabout, we can. I mean, I'm more than willing to take a group of inexperienced remote viewers, or even inexperienced people who want to try remote viewing, taking a group of them and showing them the basics of remote viewing. I mean, think of it as a 10-cent tour that costs absolutely nothing. We're going to go look at things, and if you're not squeamish and you don't mind a little blood and gore, I've got some really cool targets that involve catastrophic failures, horrible events, brave people doing stupid things, you name it. We'll go look at it. We'll touch it, kick it around, and then we can go fishing afterwards, because some of the targets have really cool fishing holes. But Group remote viewing works, and I've never seen anybody actually talk about it. I've heard that Birdie or Prue, whatever her stage name is or real name is, I'm not really sure, uh, has something similar. I don't know if it's the same thing because I haven't studied her technique yet. But as a group, we are much more receptive. And it's amazing that the energies combine. So it even says in the Bible where two or more are gathered together. And it's the same principle with remote viewing. You can have a group of 10 people, and the energy that these 10 people pull when they look at a target, whether they're in the same room or scattered across the globe, when these 10 people get together, the energy will be pulled between each other, and it will allow you to do absolutely amazing things. I've seen, I don't know how many times when a group works together, I've seen amazing things. I mean, I just get chills uh, watching it. I'm standing at my son's house talking to the three neighbors. Um, I'm explaining them the basics of remote viewing, and I asked all three of them. I said, "Look, do you want to try it right now?" The three of us, and they said yes. These are three people who've never even heard of remote viewing. And I said, I have a picture in my pocket. The picture is of a target. The target has a designation of 1. That is a designated number. You're going to tell me what this 1 is, and I want you to give me these basic descriptors of what it feels like, what it smells like, what the temperature is, how it affects you, your emotional, I mean, just basic things. All three of the guys came up with basic descriptions of my target. My target was my chicken house. It was a picture of chickens because I like chickens. All three of them described the area around my chicken house. Fence, wire mesh. The picture was, so I think it was a sunny day. It was hot, smelled, just, and there was something moving around. They couldn't figure out what was moving around. But they were able to, all three of them basically gave me different descriptions of that general area. One described the actual house, one described the wire fence to a T and how it was positioned. And the other one just said it was messy, it was, there's a what looks like a blue thing right next to it, and there's another blue thing over here. That's the roof of my house. So they're literally looking down on my chicken pen and seeing my house next to the chicken pen. Needless to say, it was really cool. So, group remote viewing. Hit me up.
Sounds like they were making the branch in the tree of life, getting together and making it more solid.
I think that's exactly what it is. You're basically force feeding the tree energy, and you're making that branch solid. So, at that junction, this event happened, and how it takes off. So think about it. Those three people that I introduced this basic concept to, all three of those guys now know what remote viewing is. Whether they follow it or not will depend on, how much effort they want to put into it. But the fact that I introduced this concept, this has a possibility of taking off for those guys as far as looking into remote viewing as a possibility, and that can actually grow and prosper for them to use this in basic life. The whole tree of life thing is just a scary concept, and the best part is it's a scary easy concept, because once you have that mental picture in your head, oh my god, the world's your oyster. You could literally do anything as long as you have that mental picture of that branch, that where you need to plant that seed, that graft, and it's just amazing. I get so excited talking about that.
The 2 or more people thing, I have tried that and seen it a lot, and I don't know how much this relates, but probably some. Because I really do think the uh, teaching of the shamans that say every world is fundamentally a dream world.
Yeah,
I've noticed the more people that are in a particular dream world, the more solid it becomes. And there are a lot of people in our reality here in this world, and it seems to make it very, very, very solid and hard to alter. But the fewer people, if you have just a personal one you've made, it's pretty easy to alter. And yeah, because to try altering this place, you're going to get the trees and the plants and the other people, and there's going to have to be a pretty big consensus to alter this place if you want to make major changes.
but it's doable.
Oh yeah, and it makes sense why if you have a few people together, because I've tried that and it definitely works.
Yeah.
The Reiki energy healing was something I did with other people, and it is so much more effective with
Uh,
even two people.
yeah, yeah. Laying on of hands, Reiki. I mean, and there's so much to the biomechanical aspect. You know, when you're trying to transfer energy, when you have two people trying to transfer energy into one person, it's so much more effective because the channeling is so much easier as long as the vibration. That's the other thing is vibrations. So I don't know what your theories are on vibrations, but so I'm not going to get too detailed on this, but I am kind of a low energy guy. My energy levels are very base. I like very base things. I like what I like because I'm a very base guy. I don't tend toward the higher realms. I don't have a higher vibration. I'm not a particularly good guy. I have an energy level suited for whatever I want at my particular time. Now, that being said, my energy levels on some degree or some aspects are high enough for me to see the higher realms. So, for whatever reason, my vibrational level, which for the most part is very low, also has an aspect which is high enough for me to see and allow the higher realms to come through. And one of the, let's just call him a friend, one of the friends that I have, um, can't, I have to go in my mind with my remote viewing to where I want to go. He can't interact with me because he is needing me to be a higher energy. So, because I'm not a higher energy being, he has a hard time taking me places, if that makes sense. He can't take me somewhere to show me something because I'm very low energy and he has a hard time with that. He is a much higher energy. His vibrational plane and how he functions and how he gets from point A to point B is much higher than mine. I'm very direct. I'm very low energy. I just go where I want. I bull through. I'm a pain in the ass. That's who I am. And this person uh, can't assist me in
That
moving.
make that makes a lot of sense.
I, I
The way
I'll
I
yeah I'll have to tell you the details on the whole story, but it's just the fact that the higher energy beings can do only so much with the low energy beings, and I think that's a lot of the problems. So
yes, I figure consciousness is outside time and space, which is why we can go do all this stuff. And one of the things that I've practiced, because, well, I figured it out on my own, and then the shaman people told me this is something they practice, I think it's just a good plan, is being able to move yourself between these different energy states, high or low or anywhere. And if you can, put yourself in multiple energy states at the same time. The more of a distance you can comprehend at the same time, the better picture of reality shows up to you, and the more you can influence it all.
Right, right, right. And that's the thing is, you know, what is going on? Oh, there we go. Shamans, man, that's another different thing. Let me tell you, when I did aura reviews in the very beginning, when I was all drugged up and I was taking them hardcore drugs, I was introduced to a shaman, and I didn't know it was a shaman. And one of the things I've noticed was everybody has a particular shell of energy around them. They have a low energy pool that they draw up, and then they have a middle band of energy, and they have a higher energy. And they also have a shield that goes around them. This is like a large blue shield of energy that protects them. A shaman has this hole in their chest, and the hole in the chest is connected to, I guess, a hole in the, I don't know, maybe a hole in the back. Anyways, the energy wraps around these people and goes to this hole in their chest. Or maybe it's coming out, I don't know which. But when I do aura views on people and they have this huge hole in their chest and they have this energy coming in or going out and they have wild energy flows and they have radiant, what looks like wings, and dude, I tell you, the shamans, wild, absolutely wild.
Different.
Yeah. So, oh, good. My co-pilot's still here. Did you have a target? He wanted to do a target. And hey, Adam, can you check on Discord? I got 2 notices that somebody sent us a message, but I can't seem to pull it up.
Let me go look.
Do you see anything?
The side chat here doesn't say anything. There's some stuff I haven't read, so I'm not sure. They don't appear to be in related topics. Off topic doesn't have anything new. Remote view in general doesn't have anything new. The voice chat, not the side chat here, doesn't have anything new.
I found it. It's MR13. He says, talk about brain, add it to aspect. Talk about the brain and add it to aspect. I don't know what that would mean.
Where was... Oh, I guess I can't even find that.
No, that's a direct message. He direct messaged me. So, yeah. That's why you couldn't find it.
And he just popped in here.
Did he? Nice.
Yeah, and unmuted microphone.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so he wanted us to talk about brain and aspects of it. So I'm not quite sure what that means, but we could talk about it.
No. Joint. Maybe talk about the brain.
The brain, yeah. What are you talking about?
Just the brain. Like,
Yeah.
you know, way it works. You know, nobody has a clue.
Shit.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, go for it.
My take on the brain, because it used to be people didn't know what it did, and when we finally got good enough microscopes to see what was going on, we realized that the structures are small enough in the brain to where they interact with the quantum noise, meaning they are not like a computer. And as far as modern science can tell, brains are basically an antenna to the quantum noise. Consciousness apparently being quantum noise to them. And the other thing I get from my own exploration is that brains are very good traps for consciousness, which is why things like Imagine it like a balloon, but it's infinitely stretchy. So you can go out in remote view, but it'll zap you back. You can go out in astral travel, and it'll zap you back. If either of those two ideas is helpful.
Well, here's my take on.
To add to it aspect, Jeff, like the thought, like something to it. You add to it in a weird way. I don't know. You have the thought that comes, and then.
Well, I mean, my take on the brain. Now, we're not talking about aspects or consciousness. We're just talking about strictly the brain here, right? So when I look at a brain, because I look at brains all the time, I literally see the function. So let's say I'm looking at MR13's brain, right? So when I look at MR13's brain, what I'm going to see is I'm going to see his brain, the two lobes, and then I'm going to see, depending on the action or activity, like let's say he's watching TV. So if he's watching TV, he's got very low energy. I mean, this brain is barely functioning. I have TV is probably the worst thing for your brain that you could actually do, because it kills the brain. Your brain is, when you're sleeping, your brain is active, which is amazing. When you're watching TV, your brain is not active. So anyways, when I'm looking at a brain, I see this, right? If you're reading a book, if you're having a discussion, your brain is very active. So the physical aspect of a brain is reflected by energy. And the energy, depending on the activity, is either moderate or through the roof.
Yeah, but how do you control it? There's usually an add to it aspect. I think you also said it.
An aspect that you can control.
Yeah, remember, there's a part in your brain, like the pineal area. There's energy up there, like you said. Then you sort of shoot it out into your brain, like something.
Yeah, so the pineal gland and the whatever the sheath is right here. I can't remember the name of that sheath. The cortical. Yeah. So it's a great big sheath that wraps around and it actually has a function which is just absolutely friggin' amazing. And the pineal gland itself has a function too. And not only does your brain fire and electrons and shit and energy go between the two lobes, your sheath and pineal gland have energy capabilities that are somehow tied to, how you send and receive. So you're talking about quantum mechanics and the brain pickup. I'll bet you money, I will bet you money that this sheath here has aspects for that quantum signal to noise ratio, or noise to signal ratio. So the sheath probably has like little mini antennas that allow this signal to be picked up and transferred into actual signals and actual usable data for the brain to disseminate. Now, you also have the part that does all the function where it has to figure out what is it looking at a horse? Is it looking at a rock? I mean, what is this signal that it's giving me? So this picks it up. These two provide a lot of the raw data, and this provides the your background and your information to make a coherent picture that you can understand. So
Where's the consciousness located?
Where is it located?
In the brain. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. That was the one thing that we talked about, was I can't tell you where it's located. People, there's been a lot of people that have had massive brain damage and just absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Left, a couple guys who don't have a left part and stuff like that.
Well, they've taken spikes through the head. They've taken they've lost or atrophied, 2/3 of their frickin' lobes. I mean, how do they? I don't understand how they can actually survive, but I guess as long as you've got the part of the brain that controls your breathing and your digestion and your basic patterns. But
What about the brainstem? You forgot to draw the brainstem.
brainstem.
Maybe that's where it's located now. No? I mean, I've read that when you can't get rid of the pons brainstem area, so maybe that's where it is.
It could be. Well, that's the thing is, but wouldn't the whole thing be the container? I mean, if you change,
It's like one interactive unit cohesive.
yeah,
It adapts. You get rid of one part. It'd be bad, but after a while it adapts.
well, and that's why it's kind
Functions
of,
and gone.
yeah. But I mean, the basic pattern is going to be there. It's just, would the basic pattern be ingrained in all aspects of the consciousness? So each part has, it's kind of like a hologram. Each part has a copy of the whole. So if your consciousness is in a damaged brain, wouldn't each piece of the consciousness reflect the whole consciousness, just like a hologram? Even though the brain's damaged and you can only see a small portion, or only, you utilize a small portion of your brain, the whole consciousness is there because each piece represents the whole.
Oh, maybe that's the quantum noise thing doing. But there has to be one major aspect, like one major part that is doing the thing that's holding it together. It can like reflect everywhere, but there's probably one area where it's like,
Well,
it can't just be.
but that's one I'm kind of curious. I mean, if you're talking about consciousness, so in order to test that, you would literally have to go through and wipe out a portion at a time on test subjects in order to find.
Maybe you can do it right now. Wipe out the brainstem. Nah, just kidding.
I have an easier way to test this,
Okay.
which is you set up a really sensitive magnetic detector on the other side of a room, and you as a person stretch your consciousness out to that sensor, and you can start to affect it there. I don't think consciousness is limited to your brain. I think you can stretch it out wherever you want to go, and you will be there, and you will be affecting those things. And for the most part, your brain is a really good interface to something that seems useful. And that is why people are generally stuck in their heads. Like, thoughts are enamored with themselves, so most people get stuck in the thought section of the brain. But if you shut all those off, there are other parts of your brain you can access. Raja Yoga, yoga of the mind, is super helpful for showing you how all this stuff works.
Oh, yoga?
Oh. It's yoga of the mind. They call it Raja Yoga.
I think I've heard of that guy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like hatha yoga is a type of yoga. Raja Yoga is yoga of the mind. And they will go through and show you how to take it all the pieces apart. Like, for example, you can see your thoughts, and you can see your emotions, just like how you can see your clothing. That's how you prove they aren't truly you. And when you analyze it all the way back, you get to a little dot of consciousness that's actually you. All the rest are tools you're using. And when you get to that point, you realize you can move around and do all kinds of interesting things once you're not all wrapped up in the tools you've got to use.
Jeff, what did you draw below the brainstem? Just like.
So that's the body. So somebody took a human cadaver and they exposed every nerve ending, as many as they can get, on this entire corpse. So basically, when they were done, the corpse, muscle, tissue, all that stuff was gone. All that was left was the nerves, right? And I distinctly remember this from Science 101 or Biology 101. The nerve endings in this person were numerous, all the way down to your fingers, to your toes. And I'm sitting here, I'm sitting here looking and thinking about your idea of where the consciousness is, and I realize that the nerve endings in your body, which are numerous and fine, and look exactly like receivers. They look like webbing you would see on a satellite, not a satellite dish, but a big, you know, it looks like an antenna cluster, or old school TV antenna. Old school TV antenna has the, you know, it's got the stick that points up, and then it's got the different branches that come out. Well, your nerve endings do the same thing. All these things, and they branch different directions at a, you know, whatever degree angle that they're branching off of. So if you look at all the nerve ending clusters, you are literally a walking, you are literally a walking antenna, sending and receiving radio signals or energy signals, which you would call a consciousness. Your consciousness resides inside that radio antenna, and it is receiving and picking up signals. Now, you're asking me where the consciousness is located, and I'm thinking in a normal human body, it's in the entire body. It's all the way down to the fingertips. Your consciousness is in your fingertips. It's in the nerve system that looks like an antenna that is throughout your body. And if you cut off 9/10 of your body and all you have left is the torso and the head, you still have a consciousness. It's just been greatly reduced. It's not even reduced. It's because every aspect of the consciousness is like a
Yeah, that sounds
hologram.
like buffoonery.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
To,
if you cut off somebody's legs, I'm pretty sure, like the way you said it is correct. It's like a hologram. It's still there, but you know,
that
even though it's not there cellularly, you know, like
when you
getting projected almost.
what is Kirlian photography? When you cut off a man's finger and you take a Kirlian photograph, that finger is still there in the picture. Back in the 70s,
Wow.
they were amazed because when you did damage to a frog leg, the frog leg's energy or the signature of the leg was still there. I mean, the pictures weren't complete, but the you understand what I'm saying. The picture showed the missing member, which to me, if you have an actual Kirlian photograph of a missing member, shows there's still an energy signature at that location that's being picked up by the chemical transfer of the photography of a Kirlian photograph, which proves conclusively that the energy is still there and it's recognizable and it's actual energy. Now, whether that's consciousness, I don't know, but it's body energy. Because they were doing things on leaves and salamanders. They take a salamander and cut off a leg and, you know, take pictures of it, and they did all sorts of weird stuff. This is the 70s. This is when I was growing up, you know. Let's go kill things and take pictures of it. So my co-pilot is asking, could our consciousness just be like a cloud that is interacting with our corporal body, like our body is the radio and the consciousness is the signal? I don't know. What do you guys think?
The way I see
You know,
it.
I'm caught up on the fact that there has to be one major aspect that is doing it. Like even if it is cellularly, like there's a center point roughly, roughly.
Why?
I mean, there has to be an area of high activity. You know, it can't be equally spread out, so you could sort of determine that's what constant is. And even that sounds kind of off.
Yeah, and I kind of disagree. I'm thinking that the consciousness is actually a sum of the total. So uh, when you have a gallon of milk and you put a drop of dye in there, which would be your consciousness, that drop of dye will eventually spread to every corner of the gallon of milk just through Brownian motion alone. Each molecule of milk vibrates and will push that dye till it's spread throughout the gallon. Now, why wouldn't our consciousness be the same way? The energy doesn't need to be contained in a single thing. Each part of the aspect of the brain has a different function of the energy. One's a receiver, one takes it and makes a picture out of it. But nothing, I don't think anything has to hold the consciousness. What I do know is when the body dies, the consciousness leaves. This is, this is science 101. The energy is going to leave when the body can no longer sustain or hold onto the energy. So whatever this energy is, can be utilized by different aspects of the brain, but I don't think it means that there is a single aspect of the brain that holds it. There's a single aspect of the brain that utilizes it in a particular way, but I don't think it's a single aspect of the brain that holds and stores. I mean, that's my take on the consciousness. I don't know if that's correct or not. I just know that.
There were some.
Go ahead.
So there were some remote viewers, other ones that went to try to answer that question, and their take on it. I forget who this was. I think it was Ed Dames.
Ooh.
But he had said that they tried to look at where the consciousness was bolted into the body. Like, how does this connection occur? So it's not quite your question. But he said there was a third strand in the DNA that was right between, I think he said it was between the two standard ones we see, and that's where we were bolted into the body as a consciousness. So he said it's literally in every single cell of the entire body all the way through it.
Which makes sense, which means each cell that is in our body has a copy of the consciousness, which means each cell is the holder of the consciousness. Now, to me, that makes sense. Just like my little nerve ending things being the receivers. It makes sense to me because I don't know, the DNA strand, how it would contain the energy, and I don't know what happens after a cell dies. I mean, when all the cells die and the consciousness is lost, does that mean the consciousness leaves after a cell dies? How long does it take for a cell to die after the body dies? I mean, I know you can be restarted after hours, but I mean, I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, what if you're stuck in one cell, your consciousness is stuck in one cell for like 100 years?
Well, I have a story that might answer that. The whole time I was growing up and as a little kid, I felt another body, complete full adult other body. And I finally tracked it down because I could feel the energy. And it was a gravesite. And I had started to feel a couple of months before I found it, maybe like, I don't know, about 6 months before I found it, started to feel the chest of that body getting crushed in. And it was extremely uncomfortable and obnoxious. And I looked at the ground, and I got the weirdest energy off that gravesite when I was over it. And I looked at the dates of the graves and where they were, because the ground was caved in on that, and it was about 6 months off, just like where I had seen it. I could see where the caskets were all failing in line and where they had gone in. And that person had died, I believe it was 4 years before I was born.
Right.
So I think formaldehyde preservation is probably a really bad idea.
But I mean, the consciousness, when you die and they start shooting that crap in you, I don't think that ties your consciousness to the.
Right. Well, obviously not, because I could still energy to that.
But okay, so now that's the thing. Does the consciousness? Because I know ghosts are real. I've seen them. I've talked to them. I've interacted with them. It's amazing. So now that I know ghosts are real and I've talked to these things, is that the consciousness of a person, or is this a construct of the consciousness? You know what I mean? Is this an energy form or pattern or
Like a program,
yes,
talking to one unit.
yes. It's not the real thing. It's not the real thing. It's a copy.
Yeah, I've met both.
Well, but I mean, what is the consciousness though? I mean, is the consciousness the ghost, or is the
How much
ghost
time?
a
How
copy?
much time do we have left?
I'm going to cut short here shortly, so probably about 10 minutes. I wanted my co-pilot.
Let's target.
Yeah, my co-pilot did 8508-2337. So let's do the target. And hold on one second here. All right. So, you guys ready? Let's figure out what this is. Yeah, that consciousness thing. That's a really interesting thing. So, will there be a part 2 of this question and answer another day? Man, we could do a part 2. If people actually like this, we could do a part 2. We could do a part 3 and 4 and 5. So, all right. So, I'm gonna do a quick ideogram. You guys chip in anytime. So if you guys got any of the basics, location, environment, anything that you feel, let me know. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put your data over here. I'm going to keep my data over here, and we'll just kind of kick it out. So I'm going to do a quick ideogram and see what I get. So I don't know. What do you guys think, man? You guys picking up on anything?
I got something.
All right, go.
Not much of something, because people keep distracting me on my phone. It seemed like an area when I first spotted it, and then I realized that most of 3D space has area in it, which doesn't really help much.
No, it's
But
okay.
it almost seems like a field with something in it, and I can't tell if it's in the middle of a city or...
Did you get a fence? Did you? One of the it feels to me like there's a fence, but I can't. I mean, I don't know if it's a chain link or if it's a a fence, normal fence or barbed wire fence. Am I looking at a pasture? What? And I got a building too, so I've got a building and a fence, and I don't know why.
I got like an area, like a field or something with a building, but I didn't look for a fence. I didn't. I didn't see it that clear. I only got it for about
if
2
it's
seconds before one.
if it's a field though. Yeah. So if it's a field, is it a flat field? Because I'm not seeing tall grass. I'm not seeing like a cow pasture. It doesn't feel like a cow pasture.
What did you draw right next to the fence?
This one here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw what looked like trees and grass and stuff like that, all different colors. I think it was blue in there, but I can't tell where the blue would be, if it was the building or flowers or something else. Like blue, yellow, and green. I can't seem to connect to it anymore.
Let me make sure that the co-pilot is online here. So, throw away. Just make sure if we're keep us on track here, man. So this is his target. But yeah, so colors. Let me look at colors. So I got gray. I got a shadow. I don't know how big this building is. I can't tell if it kind of feels like bigger than 2-story. I mean, it feels like almost 3 or 4-story, but it's not real close to this. It's far enough away that this fence and this don't interact at all. And I don't know what this building is. And I'm not quite sure what this is here. It almost looks like a chair and a person sitting in it. You know, the funny thing is I got Batman. I'm going to write an AOL here because I know it's not Batman. Oh, yeah, did you guys see that? So he's giving us a little front loading. It's a fictional person.
Okay.
So we're front loaded with the fictional person. Babe the Blue Ox just blew in my mind. So my biggest problem when I'm doing this and I'm front loaded is now I have these two pictures in my head. So now it's going to influence everything I see, everything I touch. I have to really kind of be careful when I do this. So now I basically, what I like to do is I like to basically go back to square one and 8508 2337, and then I like to, first thing that pops into my mind, so I'll do a quick sketch or I'll do an ideogram. So I got water, I got a lake or bigger. So now I got water, so now I got to figure out why I got water. Uh, and you can see that my brain, which puts out this image, then kicks out this crap, which is wrong. I mean, it's probably wrong. I don't know if it's wrong or not. But Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Into the Sea. Yeah, I don't think that's the target. So
it makes sense why it's got blue and green if it's a water target.
yeah, exactly. Or Babe the Blue Ox. He's gonna go around eating the tops of trees that Paul Bunyan's gonna be chopping down. What was the planet with the tall, skinny aliens? Avatar. It's the planet.
Avatar?
The planet. The movie where it was the tall, skinny aliens, and I figure you could be seeing an area of where the target is, like in a scene, but off target, but very related. Okay, so the tall, skinny aliens that were fighting the evil corporation, and they lived on some planet.
Wasn't that called Avatar?
Is it
James
Avatar?
Cameron, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go
I think it's
Avatar.
James Cameron.
So that's a nice AOL because they were blue skinned, very green and vibrant. Okay, so my main thing is the field that we see, right? So this building and the field are very important. And what else do we see with this field? I mean, do we see a diamond shape for baseball or sports? Is it flat? Is it hilly? Is it trees, yellow, green?
I saw trees initially.
Okay. can I do
Now
it?
that I think about what I saw, it does seem like it was animated. Some targets show it to me like that, though.
The question,
I know better fewer than me.
the question of it is, can I do a body scan of a fictional target? And yes, I can. Surprisingly, I can. And this is not the first fictional target I did because I did Mona 2. What I didn't know at the time, because I didn't know what the target was, Mona 2 is a cartoon. And my data from that didn't make any sense at all until I watched Mona 2. And then my data was like, oh my God, it was great. I totally understand what I was seeing, but at the time I was seeing it, I had no clue. So yes, I can do a body scan of a fictional target. Um, no, I'm not going to do a body scan right now. No, 10 o'clock. I'm going to say that here's our data. So we've got a field, we got trees, we got blue, yellow, green, got a fence, we got a building, and we got water. Batman, Babe the Blue Ox, Jules Verne, Avatar. You got any other names you want to throw out there, Space? Any
I don't
other?
think so. The one that popped through my mind would be Moby Dick, but I don't think that's right.
No, throw it out there.
Whatever the big whale thing.
Yeah, but what out of all our data, what would draw you to the big whale thing? Because it doesn't have a building, it has a ship. I mean, yes.
Right, but the building and the ship are both structures, and
Yeah, you're
saw
right.
a lot of blue in there.
Yeah, no, go
So
ahead.
if I'm looking at blue, if I'm looking at blue, it's the water. The green is probably algae, or the one is the whale, and the other would be the ship. But that was because I was just scanning, is it a water target, and that popped in my mind.
Yeah.
But the Avatar one seems like it matches way better. Sort of the almost cartoon nature of it, the fact that there were trees around.
Yeah,
that really seems right to me.
it's funny because I think it matches in a lot of
Oh my
aspects.
God! I wanted to say One Punch Man.
One Punch. Ah! Did you really? Satama
Yeah,
and One
100%.
Punch
I got a
Man.
hit. At first,
Oh God, that's awesome. One
Oh,
Punch Man. Why didn't you
that
say
could be it.
something?
I
That
don't
could
know.
be it.
Damn, it's such a
No, that
shame.
is it. View and describe Satamo from anime One Punch Man because I love One Punch Man.
You already did One Punch Man once, right? Yeah. With
I've
the body scan thing, he has
I,
a lot of energy for that,
he
even though it's been a couple.
the funny thing is if I would have done a body scan on it, you would have seen the energy for One Punch Man because he did 100 push-ups a day. That was the whole take on that stupid show was he did 100 push-ups a day and he became this super uber. I love that show. I would love to see season 4 because I loved One Punch Man. Anyways, that was an awesome target. And yeah, it's really a shame you didn't say something. I mean, if you would have even, I didn't even think about going down that route because you've got the building aspect, you got the water aspect, you got the trees and landscape aspect, the city of Japan and all the parks and shit that they got in that show.
Yeah, I even saw the cartoon vibe. There's like a cartoon vibe I can't explain. It's like dreamy. It's like it's a big type. Uh,
Well, the funny thing is our data, yellow,
but
green, blue.
I didn't even try. I wasn't even doing it, so I don't know why you wrote on MO1P.
No, you should have. Yeah, anytime we ever do a target like this, man, you are more than welcome to just jump right in. Uh, that's funny. That's funny because the Batman definitely fit it. And holy crap, even Babe the Blue Ox, because in the very first episode where you got the little guy on the big guy's shoulder, and there's your Babe and Blue Ox. God, I love that show. That was yeah. Batman, Babe, and Moby Dick could indicate the strength. Yeah. So, anyways, that was a cool target, and for 10 minutes that was pretty good. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna shut this down. Thank you for joining me, guys. It was fun chit chatting about all the different aspects of remote viewing. Uh, maybe we can do this again in a couple weeks, and maybe we can come up with more questions from somebody. Hopefully somebody will watch this and go, hey, I got this question. Then we'll
That we should read the comments and
what's
then comments on the video and then answer all those.
what's that?
Read all the comments in the YouTube video next week and answer all those.
That's what I want to do. I actually want to have it so that we can do a question and answer of all the questions on the YouTube video. So, yeah, if somebody's got any questions, man, just kick them out here because I'd be take a picture before racing. Yeah, I'll do that for you. But yeah, that's a good idea. So we'll reconvene this meeting when we get to it. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for Jeffro Destructive. I am gonna start shutting her down. Any last thoughts before we go? Go ahead.
What?
Any last thoughts before we go?
No.
Oh,
I had a thought earlier, but I can't remember what it was. So, yeah, no.
All right, man. Okay, so we'll do it again. We'll hit it up. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. Today's sponsor is, I don't know. I don't have a sponsor for today, but next week I'll have a sponsor, and I will show you this, and it will be awesome. And this will be our sponsor of the week. So, you guys have a good one. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you, co-pilot, for giving me that wonderful target. That was pretty awesome. All right, guys.